How's it going, guys? Patch notes for Battlefield 6 Season 2 finally dropped. Me and Oscar, we dug through every single piece of the information for you guys, and we're going to go ahead and break down all the patch notes for what's going to be coming to Battlefield 6 on February 17th. Let's see what we got going here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off this video by reading the main introduction for the patch notes. So pretty much the full breakdown, covering the new map, the new limited time modes, the new vehicles that are coming in, the new weapons. But what we're going to do then is we're going to get down to the changelog, which is the nitty gritty meat and potatoes of the update for Battlefield 6. And we're going to go through it. This video is almost twice as long as what it is now because I read everything, only to realize half of it nobody cares about. Nobody cares about changing the patch on a piece of uniform on the NATO side. You know what I mean? So I went through it, cut out all of the important bits that I know you guys are going to care about, and I put it all into a script. And we're going to break down all of the actual important details, taking all of the fluff, throwing it out the window, and just digging into the important side of it. So that being said, let's jump into the patch notes for Battlefield 6. And let's see what we're going to be working with come February 17th. So I just noticed that they pushed out this update, so I'm pushing this video out as fast as I can for you guys. So starting right here, so I'm over on EA right now. So Battlefield 6 game update 1.2.1.0. This is there's a lot to cover here. So let's go ahead and let's break it down for you guys. Season 2 begins February 17th with game update 1.2.1.0, introducing a new map, limited time modes, the Little Bird helicopter, weapons, gadgets, and progression to Battlefield 6. At 9 UTC, players will be able to download the update with Season 2 challenges becoming available. At 12 UTC, all Season 2 content goes live, including in new game modes, map, weapons, tiles, the Battle Pass, and additional progression content. New map, Contaminated. I'm actually really excited for this map based on the gameplay that I have seen on it so far. This is probably going to be the main map in my rotation for quite a while. It's a new change of scenery. I do wish there was 2 maps on release. I understand, you know, it's hard to make maps these days and it's hard to remaster maps, but I really feel like with the state of Battlefield, at least 2 maps on launch with a 3rd map dropping a month later would have been a really good way for them to go about it, so people have a little bit more variety when they come back to the game. That being said, a large-scale European mountainside battlefield set around a strategic German airbase. I don't know about the large scale from what I saw, but I guess we'll see when we actually get into it. Supports all combat sizes, includes land vehicles and helicopters, available across Conquest, Breakthrough, Escalation, Squad Deathmatch, and Strike Point. New limited time modes. Season 2 introduces a set of limited time experiences built around VL7. A psychoactive smoke weapon spreading across multiple battlefields. As contaminated zones emerge, squads must adapt their tactics, manage mass and filters, and fight for control in increasingly hostile environments across multiplayer, Battle Royale, and Gauntlet. So, is it VL7 Strike, a limited time mode where the psychoactive smoke VL7 spreads across select areas of multiplayer and REDSEC. Players must use mass and manage their filters carefully, as running out will leave them exposed to VL7's disorienting effects. So is this just like a random mode, or is this going to be just like a live event that just randomly happens across the games, kind of like weather effects? Is it going to be something like that? Or is it something that you can actually equip? Because it says VL7 Strike. Almost sounds like it's something that you can pick up and activate. I don't know. We'll see. Battle Royale Synthesis. Smoke engulfs Fort Linden, transforming the battleground. Fight and loot within contaminated zones while securing mass and filters to survive the smoke's effects. I feel like it would have been really cool if they did the gas effect in Battle Royale and they made it like a high loot zone, but they made the gas mask kind of hard to come by. So, you know, anywhere where they had the gas effect on the map in the Battle Royale, it was kind of a benefit to go into those zones. Gauntlet. I've yet to play Gauntlet, but Altered State Gauntlet returns with a new twist. Squads compete in a knocked-out style elimination format while navigating psychoactive smoke and racing to complete missions under pressure. New vehicle. This is the money right here. This is what I'm excited for. I'm also a little nervous. We'll see how it goes. I have a sinking feeling it's not going to be good, and one dude with an LMG is going to light this thing up, but the AH-6 Little Bird, the iconic attack helicopter, returns for NATO forces, offering high mobility and lethal firepower in skilled hands. Returns for NATO forces. PAX is going to have an equivalent, right? It's not just going to be the NATO team that gets a little bird. They're going to have the night bird or the, hopefully they have something for the other side. No, that wouldn't be good. New weapons. M121A2, a belt-fed machine gun delivering high damage, especially effective at close range. So sounds like more of a high rate of fire. GRT CPS, semi-automatic designated marksman rifle, designed for mid to long range engagements, featuring a high capacity magazine for sustained fire. Standard DMR VCR2. This really looks like the gun from Battlefield 2042. I forget the name of it, but it was really, really strong for a long time. It was one of the meta guns for quite a while. The VX something, I think is what it was. A short range assault rifle with a rapid rate of fire, built for intense close quarters combat. New gadgets. The Igla, a lock-on anti-air missile launcher that requires active guidance from engineers to stay on target. Provides superior missile maneuverability to adept users. I don't know. There's already... I'm hoping that when I get further down in these patch notes, there's going to be something that talks about guided shells, tow missiles, RPGs. There's already enough that aircraft have to deal with in this game. It's 90% of the population can't even fly in this game. They can't. It's that bad. It's like the top 5, not even, I think it's even less than that, percent of players that are actually like really proficient with the vehicles, that spend a lot of time flying them, are the ones that are able to survive and do stuff. And they need to open that up to the more general player base, because that's a big part of the Battlefield experience. And they're making it to where only like the really high end people are the ones that are able to succeed doing it. And I think they really need to open that up to more people. HTI MK2, a short to medium range recon device that can detect and reveal enemy gadgets, overload recon drones, and neutralize incoming rockets. That's interesting. Protective mask, essential equipment for contaminated zones. So that's just the gas mask. Battle pass and progression. But season 2 battle pass instantly unlocks such rewards and progress through 4 theme paths, including new hardware, weapon packages, soldier skins, XP boosts, and more. Complete all paths to unlock the ultimate path. BF Pro. In addition to the regular battle pass, BF Pro includes 6 instant unlocks, 25 tier skips, BF radio, portal server hosting, and access to an exclusive bonus path with additional tactical rewards. Game update delivers over 240 gameplay improvements and quality of life fixes across nearly every part of Battlefield 6. These changes are shaped by community feedback and real match data, with a focus on improving weapon handling, movement, vehicles, gadgets, UI, audio, and overall gameplay reliability. This update continues our ongoing commitment to improve consistency and reliability across the core Battlefield experience. Major updates. Weapon balance and recoil improvements. Delivered a broad recoil tuning pass across automatic weapons alongside targeted balance fixes to improve consistency, roll clarity, and long-term weapon handling. Movement and traversal fixes. Improved soldier movement predictability with refined acceleration, slide and jump behavior, smoother vaulting logic, and improved ladder animations in both first and third person. Vehicle and gadget reliability. Resolved multiple issues affecting vehicles and gadgets, including anti-vehicle interactions. I wonder if that's regarding flares and them not working sometimes in the helicopters and the jets. Drone behavior, deployables, and vehicle damage feedback. Hitting a tow missile and it does 30 damage. Maps and mode fixes address numerous map exploits, traversal issues, capture logic, and problems. And world reset bugs across Conquest, Breakthrough, Strikepoint, Gauntlet, and other modes. UI, HUD, and progression polish. Introducing a new stat screen in the player profile, as well as improved clarity and reliability across the HUD, battle pass, challenges, end of round flow, matchmaking, and party systems. Portal stability and tooling updates. Fixed a wide range of issues affecting Portal, creation tools, scripting, mutators, assets, exploits, and server stability. So a lot of that for the map creators and the Portal experiences. Audio, visual, and stability improvements. Audio is always welcome. Improved audio reliability, visual consistency, cosmetic presentation, and overall game stability across platforms. My biggest take out of that is going to be the movement fixes, some weapon balancing. UI and HUD could definitely use a lot of work. I hate the UI of the main menu of Battlefield 6, and I think that's just here to stay, unfortunately. I don't know why they couldn't just make that better. Damn. Take a note from your previous games. Stop trying to be like Netflix and modern Call of Duty and all that. Just, people like what they want, and everybody's telling you exactly what that is. Audio, obviously audio is a really big one. And then hopefully when it comes to gadget reliability with anti-vehicle interactions, I think that's a big one too. So areas of improvement: as a part of the update, we've made improvements to both how recoil behaves at a system level and how recoil is used to balance automatic weapons. Since launch, recoil compensation could feel inconsistent in certain situations. In some cases, the amount of aim input required to counter recoil did not reliably match the recoil being applied, which could make weapons feel harder to control than expected. While improvements were made during Season 1 to reduce the most extreme cases, some inconsistency could still be noticeable during regular gameplay. With this update, recoil compensation has been made fully consistent, ensuring that the aim input required to counter recoil now correctly matches the recoil applied. This results in more predictable and reliable weapon handling. Separately from this systemic fix, we've also made a broad recoil tuning pass across automatic weapons. Recoil is one of the main ways we balance weapons across different engagement distances. Higher damage weapons are intentionally harder to control, while lighter weapons trade raw power for the ease of use and consistency. Over time, we saw this balance start in the drift once we looked at how these weapons were actually being used in live matches across common combat ranges. This tuning pass brings recoil behavior back in line with each weapon's intended role. You should expect automatic weapons to feel more consistent and better differentiated across ranges, with higher impact weapons demanding more control and positioning, while others remain reliable and forgiving in closer engagements. All right, so now that we've gotten down to the changelog, we just covered the main introduction for the update and for the patch for Season 2. We're going to start going into the changelog, which is actually where all of the updates are and like the smaller nitty gritty. I read through this originally and I started recording it and I was reading the entire thing and I got to a point where I was like, none of this matters. A lot of this does not matter at all. For example, nobody really cares that right here, the spiteful Mirage skin was missing hair, and then the Thunder Engineer skin didn't focus the camera on the right patch location, or this uniform patch appears twice on the skin. There's just so much stuff in here that's irrelevant. It really doesn't matter. It's nothing that anybody really cares about. So what I did, I read through the entire thing really quick, and I went through and I copied out all of the important information that I think you guys really care about. Feel free to go through and read the entire thing if you want, but I'm going to focus in on some of the more important topics that I dug out of this. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump into that for you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my notes here. So under the player changelog, the main things that really stood out to me. So starting off, player weapon skin and charm fixes and visual updates. That's pretty much me. That's my own thing that I put in there. So the majority of the player log is them talking about player skins, weapon skins, charms, the names of items are being duplicated. It's a bunch of just kind of filler update stuff. So that's all that line means. So let's get into it. Adjusted the acceleration curve of slide and jumps for a better account for the player's speed when entering a slide or a jump. That's a really big movement focused one. So it's adjusting that curve. So it's going to take into the account of the speed of the player a little bit better when you're entering the slides or initiating a jump. All squad members now display animated health icons when downed, clearly indicating who is able to revive you. That's really good to be able to know. Fixed case scenarios where it would sometimes be possible to grab ledges much higher than intended with the vault grab. Not a big fan of this. So the fact that they're making it to where there's situations in this game already where I'm looking at something and in my head I'm like, I should be able to grab that. I'm sure you guys have ran into situations like that as well. They're taking that and they're pulling it back even further. So I feel like there's a lot of times I think they need to increase the vault range just a little bit, if anything, in areas where you can climb over certain walls, because there's things that I look at like, man, in real life, I could climb over that wall. Like, come on, give me a little bit of a break here. Improved first-person ladder animations for entering, climbing, and exiting. They did a lot of fixes with the ladder, like the launching mechanics and everything. They're fixing all that. But I do think that the animation for entering and climbing and exiting, that's a flow thing. So the flow of your movement. So that's why I really thought that was something that I wanted to add in here. Made animation and logic improvements to vaulting over medium-sized obstacles, refining momentum, and smoothing transitions into movement. So the fact they're making more improvements to vaulting, climbing, and the transitions that come and go with that, I'm happy to see that. Reduce the intensity of hit reactions while on fire to improve visual clarity during combat. I can't tell you on Blackwell Fields when I'm just running across the map and I step into a little patch of embers and my character lights on fire and I get all these like dazing effects and the hit. It's just, I'm glad they're finally addressing that a little bit. I'll be curious to see how much they actually address it. And then reduce the maximum slide impulse length by 25% to improve balance and readability during fast movement. So they're reducing the slide impulse length by 25%. I don't know exactly what the impulse length means. So I can't comment on this exactly, but to me, it does sound like they're nerfing the slide distance by 25%. I might be wrong on that. They're either nerfing the slide distance or they're nerfing something that has to do with the inertia of the slide by 25%. Regardless, I already think that the movement in this game is a little... I think it's good where it's at. I'll put it that way. Battlefield's a game where you can't have too much movement, but you need to have some skill gap. And I just don't want them to keep taking away from the skill gap, trying to appease to people that don't even... It just doesn't make sense to me. So hopefully they don't take it too far, and hopefully that the nerfs aren't way out of line. So the very next topic that we're going to talk about is vehicles. So this one, let's get into it. So disabled angle-based damage mitigation on the Traverser Mark II to better reflect its lighter armor profile. It now takes consistent damage from all directions. That's something that I'm really happy about. Fixed an issue where attack helicopter rocket trails could disappear when firing on long distances. That's going to be really, really huge. That's going to help you with tracking your targets a lot easier, telling where your rockets are going, and over time help you learn the lead and height adjustments you need to make to hit your targets with the helicopter. Fixed an issue where helicopter rotary cannon tracers could sometimes originate behind the muzzle. Fixed an issue where jet throttle input could remain active after ejecting from the aircraft. Fixed an issue where the tank turret aiming speeds differed between first and third person views. Fixed unreliable bullet collision on anti-air vehicle radar dishes. Reduced muzzle flash intensity on anti-air tanks and stationary anti-air weapons when zoomed in. And you can no longer move vehicles forward or backwards while the big map is open, preventing input conflicts with map zoom controls on controllers. Yeah, that's it. That's it. So we'll talk about that in stream later. Anyways, on to gadgets. Again, I took the fluff out of gadgets. Fixed an issue where the RPG and the MBT law launchers would be inaccurate if fired right after the zoom transition is completed. Ran into that numerous times. You pull out your RPG, you zoom in and you shoot too fast, and your rocket goes to Timbuktu. So I'm happy they did fix that. So it's kind of a buff for the RPG. Needs its nerfs, but that's a whole nother topic. Fixed an issue where the LTLMLI portable laser designator could prioritize already painted targets instead of the vehicle being aimed at. So I'm curious how that's going to affect the game. I wonder if that's actually going to help, because the way that it's reading to me is if you are laser designated when you're like in a helicopter, other laser designators that are placed are going to be targeting you while you're designated. They're going to focus you primarily instead of the vehicle that they're being aimed at and directed towards. So I'll be curious to see how that adjusts, and I wonder if that's going to help with some of the painting with the game. I still think that painting should be more of a, you have to hold on to target, and if you're not on target, it shouldn't last for more than 5 seconds instead of like a full 15-20 seconds like it does currently. Improved consistency of the defibrillator revive detection on stairs and uneven terrain. Always a welcome change anytime they make it to where the defibrillator works better in this game. That speaks for itself. So now coming down to the weapons. Again, a lot of stuff in the weapons here. Let's go ahead and break that down really quick on the weapons side. So adjusted in-world spotting range when firing a weapon without a suppressor or flash hider, reducing it from 75 to 54 meters. Spotting in this game has been a big topic of discussion, especially amongst all the infantry players. It's spot here, you get a spot, they get a spot, everybody gets a spot. It's Oprah Winfrey with fucking spotting in this game. So they're making it to where they're reducing it in a little bit, so you're not going to get spotted as easily. They're reducing it down to 54 meters from 75. But that being said, they are also, as you can see with the second one here, adjusted the minimap spotting range when firing suppressed weapons, increasing it from 15 to 21 meters to better align with the intended balance. So running a suppressor, I put a suppressor on everything. I now have 6 meters of lost ground that I can be towards enemies to where they can start seeing me on the minimap. So that's a pretty big increase. So that's something to take into consideration. Fix consistency with recoil compensation, making sure that the amount of aim input needed to compensate for recoil matches the amount of recoil. Good welcome fix. Fixed an issue where scope glints and laser sight lens flares would be visible through the cover of smoke grenades. I can't tell you how many times I've just looked through smoke to look for the glint, and I shoot at the glint to get kills, so that's probably going to be a good fix. Reduce the mini scout muzzle velocity from 880 to 800, and reduce the mini scout limb damage to better align with lower torso damage values. So the mini scout's basically getting a little bit of a nerf this game as well. They also did a weapon recoil tuning adjustment. So adjusted recoil behavior across automatic weapons to better reflect real combat ranges and ease of use expectations, improving range consistency while preserving intended weapon rolls. So AK-205 adjusted the recoil behavior to better match expectations for a 5.45 and 39 millimeter weapon with minimal impact on overall handling. The B36, L85, M433, SOR, MK2 reduced recoil randomness, improving consistency and effectiveness at longer ranges. So I'm actually really excited to try out the SOR now again and see how that feels, because that might slap now. The DB12 increased rate of fire and faster pump action to improve reliability in close quarters combat. L1110 LMG reduced recoil to reinforce the handling differences between belt-fed machine guns and assault rifles. LMR 27 increased the damage at close to mid ranges to better reward accurate headshots. M123K reduced recoil to improve sustained fire control and reinforce its role as a belt-fed machine gun. M277, I love this carbine already as it is. Reduced recoil, improving effectiveness at range. Might be my new. That might be. I'll be really curious to see that. That might be a problem. M417A2 in the QBZ reduced recoil randomness to ensure they remain competitive relative to updated assault rifles. So a lot of really good players in this game run the M417A2. It's a really good gun. M277, the SOR. So the fact that they're buffing all of this, I'll be curious to see. It might be a lot more. Well, we'll see how it all plays out. I wonder how it's going to play on the balance side of things. PW7 USG90 adjusted recoil behavior to improve effectiveness at range while slightly increasing handling difficulty up close. SCW10, probably the best SMG in the game, if not one of. Increased recoil to reduce effectiveness at range and reinforce its close quarters role. I anticipated that. I saw that coming. The SG553R increased recoil to limit effectiveness at range and better align with its strong close range performance. And the SOR 300SC adjusted recoil to ensure it remains competitive alongside updated assault rifles. I wonder what it means by adjusted recoil. Increased? Decreased? Who knows? EA. Let's keep it vague. All right. That's all of the weapons that are being affected and how their recoils are going to be affected. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump down to maps and modes. Added Rush as a new mode to Mirak Valley. See how that plays out. I'd be willing to try it. Fixed an issue in escalation and operation firestormer vehicles will not spawn at HQ as intended. Fixed an issue in squad deathmatch where locked squads could cause the scoreboard to appear partially empty. Fixed an issue in sabotage where attackers would reach elevated positions and spawn camp the defending team on Blackwell Fields. Fixed an issue in sabotage where attackers could spawn within direct line of sight of defenders when deploying at HQ on Blackwell Fields. Fixed an issue on Siege of Cairo where players could reach the top of buildings and Sector D3 using the deployable cover gadget. Fixed missing water and visual issues in several swimming pools across Eastwood. Manhattan Bridge. Map I don't play very often, but let's see what we did. We got fixed an issue where destroying a garage by D objective could trigger a whiteout effect across the map. That's interesting. Fixed an issue where destroying an office building by F objective would incorrectly trigger a blackout and cause other players to see random colors and bright lights across the map. Sounds like I've been missing a party by not playing on this map. Fixed an issue where destroying parts of a plaster ridge at sea objective could expose occlusion problems, causing large sections of the map to disappear when viewed from certain positions. Fixed an issue where players could stand on top of the bridge, creating unintended gameplay advantages. Fixed an issue where points of interest on the mini-map were incorrectly labeled as Dumbo instead of Manhattan Bridge. Empire State. Infantry map. Fixed an issue where players could capture point B Sector 2 on breakthrough from an unintended upper floor. Fixed an issue where, so it's basically a buff for the defenders. Fixed an issue where players could place the assault ladder on invisible collision near the NATO HQ. Fixed an issue where players could reach unintended areas above the D flag after being launched into the air. Strike Point. Haven't really played Strike Point. Fixed an issue on Liberation Peak, Operation Firestorm, and Iberian Offensive where multiple world and vehicle assets would not restore correctly. Fixed an issue where matches could end prematurely when teams were tied. 5-5. Fixed an issue where players running a match late could spawn under the map. And fixed a rare issue where a wiped team could be incorrectly awarded a point. Added the scout helicopter to the following maps and modes: Conquest, Manhattan Bridge, Operation Firestorm, New Sobek City, Mirak Valley. So yeah, they added it to quite a few of the maps. Doesn't sound so far like they're removing the attack helicopter from any of these. So the Manhattan Bridge could become a little interesting. The attack heli doing the circles, they have to focus not just the little bird, but the attack helicopter. And so that could be a little bit more of a problem. Escalation, they're adding it to Manhattan Bridge, Eastwood, Operation Firestorm, New Sobek City, and Mirak Valley. I'm actually really surprised that on Conquest, they didn't put the little bird on Eastwood. I thought that was going to be a good map for it. We got some progression updates as well. It's pretty short, so I just left the whole thing in here. Battle Pass tokens are now earned more quickly through career XP and weekly challenges, allowing for faster progression through regular gameplay. Fixed an issue where re-rolling challenges could become unavailable when switching between the Battle Pass and daily challenges. Fixed an issue where the assignment tracker did not correctly track missions from the unit page. Fixed incorrect tracking for multiple weekly assignment-based challenges. Fixed multiple issues with challenge criteria, displaying or progressing incorrectly across REDSEC, Gauntlet, and weekly challenges. Fixed incorrect progress display for week 2 challenges. Fixed an issue where exploration assignments could complete with fewer actions than intended. Next up, we have the UI and HUD. Not a whole lot of good stuff in here. A lot of it's just some little tiny fixes. This is the key stuff I took out of it. Engineer icon changed to improve readability and make the role more clear based on community feedback. I saw that a lot of people were complaining about the icons, especially early on. So it's kind of nice to see that they're changing up the engineer icon. It's a little thing, but it's nice to see. Fixed an issue where the map could flip back and forth when rolling an aircraft for your pilots out there. Fixed enemy lock-on in-world icons displaying incorrect state colors when targeting vehicles. Improved readability of missile intercepted indicators. And then Season 2 introduces a new stat screen. This is kind of cool. In the player profile, featuring career total, career best, accolade stats. Each of these 3 screens showcases a variety of detailed statistics. The career total stats header includes both overall totals and breakdowns by game mode, while career best stats are tracked for both in a match and in a life categories. Scrolling down here to the settings, added an accessibility option for flash and stun grenades that replaces the white flash effect with a black screen effect, reducing sudden brightness while preserving gameplay impact. This option can be enabled in the accessibility settings. So for people that are sensitive to the white flash, you can pretty much just make it a black flash now. The next one, Portal. Decent a chunk in Portal, but a lot of it is really just for people that actually build the maps. I'm not going to get too much into it. The only things that really stood out to me in Portal: fixed an exploit that allowed players to farm excessive XP by repeatedly destroying AI spawned vehicles. Fixed an issue where players could create AFK farming experiences that bypassed intended progression limits. So a big thing with Portal, other than fixes on building the map and the editor fixes, they pretty much got rid of some of the XP farming that they discovered in the game. That's pretty much all the fluff taken out of like the main update. So that's all pretty much taken care of. So that being said, the rest of this I'll just read out for you guys. So this is all pretty important stuff. This I have not read yet, so this will be new to me. Audio. Fixed an issue where pinging a vehicle supply crate did not trigger the correct supply voiceover line. Fixed audio stuttering when vehicles are sabotaged using the repair tool. Improved audibility of enemy zip lines and parachutes. That's very welcomed. As well as friendly blowtorches when mini sounds are playing. Improved audio obstruction for vehicles, weapons, and soldier footsteps by refining sound source positioning. Improved clarity of distant enemy footsteps by better aligning layered audio content. Thank you, DICE. Improved panning for close non-player footsteps at very short distances, and improved reliability of multiple sound effects under heavy load, including defibrillators, blowtorches, zip lines, and parachutes. I understand from a game developer side, you have all these different audio cues peeking in all at the same time, and that's where it gets mudded out with like footstep audio and everything. So hopefully this is a really good fix. Network, fixed rare cases where the game could become unresponsive after reconnecting. Network cables during gameplay or while accepting invitations on Xbox Series consoles. And then we have REDSEC, the black sheep of the family of Battlefield, but a very dedicated player base to it. So player fixes. Fixed an issue where dying with a data drive could prevent the extraction mission from progressing. Fixed an issue where in rare cases soldiers could take higher than intended damage when wearing armor. Curious when that would occur. Fixed an issue where mission completion rewards would fail to drop correctly if the player initiating the mission was killed just before the completion. Fixed an issue where the deploy input during Battle Royale insertion was not triggering consistently. And then fixed an issue where the party leader, who would be returned to the front end after selecting stay with the squad in Battle Royale duos. Vehicles in Battle Royale. Added the Traverser Mark II to select large, medium, and small gauntlet layouts. Fixed an issue where the weapon could rotate incorrectly in first-person view when using the Traverser Mark II remote weapon system. And then fixed an issue where incorrect or missing crosshairs could appear for side passengers in the Traverser Mark II. Weapons, improved attachment setups for the M4A1, M277, SVDM, Mini Scout, UMG 40, and the 18.5 KSK, ensuring these weapons use their intended attachments and are better balanced when found as loot. Call-ins, fixed an issue where the UAV call-in sound effect could continue playing if the action was canceled by vaulting. Increased the drop speed of custom weapon supply drops and mission rewards after being spawned in the air. Introducing a new limited tactical strike package, allowing players to call in a volley of gas discharging artillery shells on a target location on the map. The strike offers a unique way to disrupt and deny key areas to enemies. So I was actually talking to one of my coworkers at work about this, whether the gas was going to be a call-in or not. So it looks like there is going to be a call-in strike package for like a gas strike. Map. Fixed an issue where tanker container ramps could clip through the large deployables. Ramps now correctly damage or destroy objects and vehicles when lowering. Fixed multiple terrain and object placement issues. Progression. Fixed an issue where Battle Royale Special Forces Operator challenge rewards were not granted correctly. UI and HUD fixes for Battle Royale. Fixed an issue where strike package map markers would not disappear when joining a gauntlet session right after playing a Battle Royale match. Fix an issue where the clear ping action did not work with default controller bindings. And some more Battle Royale fixes. Fixed an issue where helicopter insertion flight paths on the big map could become misaligned when the helicopter endpoint icons were off screen. Fixed an issue where the decryption beacon displayed an incorrect texture. Fixed an issue where the loot feed could incorrectly increment the number looted when picking up the same item repeatedly. Fixed an issue where players could toggle flashlight and laser attachments while navigating the inventory. Fixed an issue where the UAV icon was too small on the mini-map and big map. Fixed multiple issues with the second chance UI, including incorrect timers, widgets, persisting after squad wipes, and incorrect visibility when players left the match. Removed outdated soldier voiceover lines referencing supply drops when pinging crates or supply vehicles. Gauntlet. Fixed an issue where the beacon pulse icon could appear too far away when first picked up by an enemy. Fixed an issue where the countdown icon on the mobile respawn gadget could disappear too early. Fixed overlapping UI elements when rapidly exiting the edit loadout menu. And did the same thing where randomly deploy could appear behind class selection buttons on the redeploy screen. And then to top off this massive patch note, audio. Fixed an issue where dropped items would not correctly play pickup sound effects. Fixed missing collision sounds for dropped ammunition. And improved reliability of audio feedback for UAV call-ins. So that is the whole entire massive Battlefield game update 1.2.1.0 that it's going to be coming with the release of Season 2 on February 17th. So those are the patch notes. That's what we're working with. So yeah, that's the full patch note breakdown for Season 2 for Battlefield 6. So I'm kind of conflicted on it. There's a lot of good stuff that's in there. There's a lot of stuff that's concerning because it's not in there. Let me give you my thoughts on it just really quick to end the video, because this video is already dragged on long enough. Being a helicopter pilot primarily, don't get me wrong, I love playing infantry. Playing infantry is like one of the key things about playing Battlefield that I love the most, and what I've always done in the past, even though I've always been a helicopter pilot as well. My concern with the helicopters, attack helicopters and tow missiles and RPGs. It's been an issue for a really long time. RPG velocity, RPG ease of use, tow missile ease of use, tow missile velocity, main battle tanks even having a guided missile with the state of the game and how open it is and the cover scattered. And I'm a little concerned that they haven't addressed it really. Nothing's been done to RPGs. Nothing's been done to main battle tanks, Bradleys, and AAs sitting inside of their spawn deployment, shooting tow missiles. I'm the type of person where, you know, I wouldn't mind something if I was able to counter it. Tanks having tow missiles, AAs, all the stuff that can shoot you down, where a 5-year-old has the ability to do it because it's so easy to do in this game. For them to make it to where they're invincible behind a certain threshold, therein lies the problem. It's bad enough as it is. If you get a dedicated IFE or MBT player that's all they do, even if they don't have spawn protection, they're going to win 90% of those fights. It's just how it's going to go. So the issue that I have with it is, if you're going to have a main battle tank or an IFV or an AA sitting in their spawn protection, lobbing guided shells at you across the map, there has to be some way to counter it. They need to add some way to counter it. If they're going to leave it the way that it is, at least give me the ability to sneak around the side of the map, come up behind them or come up from the side, dodge 1 or 2 of their missiles if I get lucky, and at least have a chance to take them out of the game for a minute and a half. You know, they got to at least give us that. So that's my biggest concern when it comes to the airplay for the helicopters. Air radar for the jets wasn't even mentioned. So that's another concern that I have. They haven't even mentioned the air radar in this game. Base AA and the effectiveness of it. And halftime it works, halftime it doesn't. It's completely disabled on Eastwood. A lot of concerns about air vehicle gameplay that I'd really like to see them just talk to us about. Give us an update on it. Let us know you're in the works on it. I was expecting to at least see something in the patch notes for season 2 about that. So that's my concern about air vehicles. Now, movement concern is infantry. I don't know if they're going in the right direction here. They're going, you know, a lot more grounded, which is a good thing in a way. I think Battlefield is a grounded game. You know, I don't want no wall running or anything crazy like that, but I do think there needs to be at least still some movement skill gap. You know, this isn't Tarkov, and it's still an arcade shooter. And I think that nerfing slide speed and nerfing the climbing and how high you can climb, the climbing height should be adjusted a little bit as it is. Like I said, there's like walls that I can see. I'm jumping at this wall and I can't climb over it, and it's like 3 feet tall. Like, come on, give me a break. I could climb over that. And so I really hope that they're not going too far in the wrong direction with this. If I'm reading the patch notes correctly, at least, hopefully that they're not completely smacking another ground. I don't think they are. But it's the direction that's a little concerning. I'd like it for it to be a little bit more focused on creating a skill gap amongst the player base and rewarding the people that put in the time. As for the weapons, I'm excited to get a couple new weapons into the game. I'm a little upset that there's only a few new weapons coming in. I was hoping there'd be a couple more. I mean, I don't want to ask for too much. Obviously, they have their team scattered, their development team doing all kinds of different projects, but I was hoping to see a little bit more, especially with the delay of season 2. I was hoping to see more content get added instead of no extra content being added, from what I can tell. And with the upgrades to the guns, they buffed all the ARs. Well, they buffed and nerfed a lot of stuff, but I think overall it was a big buff by the sounds of it, in reducing weapon bloom and just changing the recoil patterns. And I think the time to kill, I think, is about to get faster in Battlefield, and time to death, I'm wondering how that's going to affect it. But I think with this buff that they're doing, it is going to be affecting the time to kill. You're going to be dying a little bit more often than what we were used to before, because people aren't going to be missing those couple bullets like they were missing before. Game sounds, that's a big buff, big win. Anytime that they can fix the game sounds, I'm really happy about that. And then map content release schedule, like I said, the development team, I'm not a game developer. I don't know the details. And I do play this game a lot. You know, for the person that comes and plays this game an hour every 2 days, hops on once in a while, I think this is plenty of content for that player. For people like me that's playing this game all the time, content creators, it's disappointing, but we have to be realistic with our expectations at the same time, but I still think that 2 maps on release of the season minimum. The map that they're releasing in a month from now should be released now. Obviously, we want it polished and it to work properly, but they should have a development team capable of releasing 2 maps at release for that variety to jump between 2 different maps for when that new season drops, and then releasing the 3rd map at that 1 month into the season mark. So I think it should be 3 maps, 2 maps on the season release, 1 map a month later. That would be an acceptable, to me, time frame, even if they're remastering old maps. I think that would be really, really good. So that being said, yeah, that's just kind of like my brief overview, the first things that just come to my mind as I'm going over this with you guys. So I really hope that season 2 does really well. I'm a little concerned based on what I'm reading and based on what I'm seeing and the content release schedule, but overall, I just want to see Battlefield succeed. So I hope it's going to be a great season 2. I hope that it's going to play great. I hope it's going to be very minimal on the bugs and the messes. And I hope that the helicopters work really, really well. The little bird, biggest concern is the HP on it. I'm worried that one dude with an LMG is just going to light that thing up. So I did fly it back when it was leaked into the Portal experience, and it was a little wonky. So I'm hoping that's not, obviously, I'm hoping that's not the final render of it. I'm excited for season 2. I actually took vacation for all next week, you guys. So I will be streaming live a majority of the week next week during the launch of season 2. So if you guys would like to stop in and hang out with me during season 2, I'd love to see you guys there on my streams. I'm going to be streaming on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, and Kick. So mainly my community is over on Twitch. But if you guys enjoyed this video, feel free to ring the little bell. What is it these YouTubers say? Ring the bell, hit the red button, complimentary reach, or something like that. So hook me up with that. And I'd really appreciate that. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, you guys.